He controlled every dollar for 6 years. He controlled every dollar for 6 years. She smiled and let him. Cold Reckoning presents. Then the check arrived. The dinner was his idea. The restaurant was his choice. The reservation was under his name. He ordered for both of them without asking. He always did. 6 years of ordering for both of them without asking. When the bill came, he reached for it the way he reached for everything. Automatically. Like ownership was just a reflex. He opened it. He looked at the number. He looked at it again. And then, for the first time in 6 years, he said nothing. Her name was Claire. And she had been waiting for exactly this moment for 14 months. She did not reach for her purse. She folded her hands on the table and waited. He said, "My card's not working." She said, "I know." 2 words. 6 years of silence compressed into 2 words. He laughed, the short, uncomfortable kind. He said, "Do you have cash? I'll pay you back." She looked at him for a long moment. Then she opened her bag, took out a card, and placed it on the table. Not her usual card. A black card, an account he had never seen, had never known existed. The waiter took it without comment. Marcus stared at it like it was evidence of something he couldn't name yet. Because it was. Subscribe to Cold Reckoning right now, because what that card represented took 6 years to build and 14 months to plan. Stay with this. To understand the card, you need to understand Marcus. And to understand Marcus, you need to understand what 6 years of financial control actually looks like from the inside. It didn't start as control. It started as generosity. He paid for everything: dinners, holidays, rent, the car. It felt like love. For about 8 months, it felt exactly like love. Then the questions started. Why do you need your own account? I cover everything. Then the access disappeared. She had a joint account. He had the login, she had the card, with a limit he set. Then the reporting started. Every purchase explained, every expense justified, every coffee, every book, every haircut discussed. He never screamed, he never threatened. He simply made every financial decision and called it taking care of her. And for a long time, Claire told herself that's what it was. Because the alternative, that she had handed her autonomy to someone who would use it as leverage, was too frightening to name. The moment she named it was a Tuesday afternoon. She had asked him for $200 for a birthday gift for her mother. He had said no, just no, no discussion, no alternative. She sat in her car in the parking lot for 22 minutes. And then she drove to a bank she had never used and opened an account in her name only. She deposited $40. All she had in cash. That was month 1. Cold Reckoning, subscribe now, because month 14 is why you're watching this. She did not change anything visible. She did not fight, did not confront, did not withdraw from the relationship in any way he could detect. She smiled at the right moments. She attended the dinners. She thanked him for paying. And every month, quietly, she moved money. Not large amounts, nothing he would notice. $80 here, $120 there, a freelance project paid to her private account. She had learned something from 6 years of watching him manage money. She understood exactly which transactions were invisible and which ones weren't. Month 3. She took on a freelance client. Told Marcus it was a favor for a friend. Unpaid. The invoice was $1,400. Month 5. A second client. Then a third. Her private account crossed $8,000. Month 8. She consulted a financial attorney. Brought documentation of 6 years of financial records. the attorney used a specific term: financial abuse. Claire had never used that word. She sat with it for a week before she let it be true. Month 11, she found an apartment. 2 bedrooms, good light, 12 minutes from her sister. She paid the deposit in cash from her private account. Month 14, she was ready. The dinner was her idea. She suggested his favorite restaurant. She made the reservation. She had chosen the most expensive item on the menu. She had ordered a bottle of wine she knew he would approve of. She had sat across from him for 2 hours and listened to him talk about his plans, his deals, his vision for their future together. And when the bill came, $340 for 2 people, she watched him open it. She watched his face when his card declined. Have you ever watched someone realize in real time that the story they believed about themselves isn't true? Drop it in the comments. We read every single one. He tried a second card. Also declined. He had moved money between accounts that morning, routine restructuring he called it, and had miscalculated the timing. He was not broke. But in this specific moment, at this specific table, he could not pay. And the person he had controlled for 6 years opened her bag and paid without blinking. The waiter returned the card. Marcus picked it up, turned it over. Read the name on it, her name, only her name, and the account number he had never seen. He said, "Where did this come from?" She said, "I've been saving." He said, "Since when?" She said, "Since the Tuesday you said no to $200 for my mother's birthday." The silence at that table lasted 11 seconds. She counted. She had rehearsed this moment so many times that when it arrived, she felt almost nothing, just very clear. She told him 3 things. She had an apartment, she had an attorney, she had 14 months of financial records. She told him she was not angry. She told him she was just done. She picked up her bag. She thanked him for dinner, genuinely, because the food had been excellent. And she left, without waiting for his response, because his response was no longer information she needed. The apartment was ready. Her sister helped her move the next morning. 3 hours, 2 cars, everything that mattered. Marcus called 11 times that day. She answered once, said, "The financial review took 4 months." 6 years of documented financial control, combined with 14 months of her own documented savings, produced a settlement that her attorney described as, she did not need to fight. She had already won 14 months before the bill arrived. 2 years later, Claire runs her own consulting practice. The freelance clients from months 3 and 5 are still with her. Her private account, the one that started with $40, became the seed capital for everything she built after. She never posted about Marcus. Never mentioned him publicly. Never needed to. The black card said everything, in the only language that had ever mattered to him. Subscribe to Cold Reckoning and share this with someone who needs to be reminded that the plan doesn't have to be loud to be devastating. He controlled every dollar for 6 years. She smiled, said thank you, and built something he couldn't see. Until the night he couldn't pay. And she could. That is Cold Reckoning. New story tomorrow.